So let's put it this way. It's not to say one person is bad and another person is good. At every point of my life, one producer felt that the music he was producing was better than the music of all the other producers who I knew. You know, I think the guy I met I'm like, RK, with RK we started doing different stuff. True, a lot later. That's when we started doing this with Calligraph and Baby. But RK was very much cultivate this. Yeah, it's the music. The truth is, that's the music I listen to. I listen to a lot of Tiwa Savage. You know, so it was like, you know this music, why don't you just do it and cultivate it, but make it music that you're proud of. Don't make it so pop that if somebody plays you the song in 10 years, you're like, what was I doing? You know, make it music that you can be proud of, but you can still make it pop because it's the kind of music that you like. He wasn't necessarily saying don't sing me your soul. Yes. But he wasn't saying your soul is great. He was like, lead with this other foot. So when my first record came out,
Hatimaye now.
Yeah, it had a lot of that neo stuff. And truthfully, like I said before, I remember Tim showed me the video of Fire on the Mountain. And I was like, what the hell is this woman? This is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And I told him to make my video for Speechless like this, you know.
The morning dew, sun is shining through my window as I lay here thinking only of you. A smile on my face, like I've won a race. The prize for me is you to keep for eternity. Mfalme wangu is what you are, like a star shining in the dark. Mpenzi wangu, I'm so happy and cannot breathe. Stay with me. So I say, la 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 la. Speechless. La 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 la. La la la.
And she was just so, and you'd hear her sing, as in, the thing I liked about her and the thing that I think I want to have to this day.
For Tiwa Savage now?
No, from Asha.
Asha.
If you hear her sing, even if she's singing in English, you know it's an African. It's not confusing. Yeah, I don't want to be mistaken for an American, you know, or at some point, because that's what people say, and they think it's something nice. Oh my God, are you really Kenyan? And I'm like, when Kenya can't have nice things. What's wrong with you people? So again, like I said, there is the people who I've seen, like my male counterparts. There's a very big difference between being a male musician and being a female musician, right? There is a way that you need to carry yourself. You do need to have a certain different sense of integrity, because if a man is sleeping with many women, he's a player. If a woman is sleeping with many men, she's a yeah. So you have to know at some point how to keep. And I think for me, one of the things that made it a bit easier is that I had a lot of male friends. Had a lot of male friends, and I understood, okay, so you kind of need to carry yourself differently. I'm not saying that here I am as a role model of virtue, but I'm also not saying I'm just going to do it, because for a woman, I feel like there's a lot more judgment.
Yeah.
You know? So you either have to say, I don't care, and I'm going to be doing splits. And, you know, I remember there was this time I went to Blankets and Wine, and I was wearing shorts. And I can't remember what was happening in the video. I think someone got a fight on the video, and I passed by just after the fight. The comments are like, I can't believe she's wearing shorts. I really respected, and I was like, Mia, what's wrong with you people? Me, when in America, I wear shorts all the time. You know? So it's balancing between how much do I care about what people say about this, and how much do I not care. So you find yourself in a place where you're like, let me go to work, to church, and home.
Yeah.
It's safer. It's just safer, because some people don't really care. They're like, they're gonna talk about me, and then being a woman in the industry is one thing. Being a single woman in the industry is another thing. So I've never had sexual harassment problems, because if you are going to harass, is it me? When you think about it, it's me. I can box you in the face. I'm not the one. I'm not really the one. But I've had the bitch moniker a lot, because I know how I want my things done. I want it done like this, and I want you to come at this time, and I want you to do this. And I've had people be like, well, I did a gig one time with someone, I just can't remember who it was, and he had some songs to learn, I had some songs to learn. So me, I learned my songs. He didn't learn his. So on the day of the gig, he's like, so in my song, will you come and take the ad-libs? And I'm like, no.
What?
Why? Because I learned my part. If you didn't learn your part, this is your personal problem. And I heard later he was like, she is such a diva, she wouldn't even help me with this. This is somebody who knew me well. I remember who telling me not name me. But somebody who knew me well. Yeah. That when I heard he said that, I was so offended. And I was like, I'm just holding you to a higher standard. Me, I learned my parts. I didn't know the songs even. I learned them. Kwanzaa, it was his gig. So I'm like, me, I learned everything. You didn't learn your parts in the gig. Why are you then telling people after that I'm a diva or I'm difficult? And it's just, you get to the place where you're like, I want people to come to practice this many practices, which is so interesting. I think it's something Tim finds really interesting now, because I used to hate rehearsals.
Yeah.
Like, do I have to come? And I also think then part of the reason was everything I had was written for me, and there was always somebody in charge. Tim was in charge of the band, or Chris was in charge of the band, and you're teaching the band songs that I know. What do I want to come for, But now I am in control of the band. I know what the chords are. I've written these new songs. I want us to play them. I play very bad keys, but can you hear what the chords are? Yeah. You can hear, okay? And I want us to change this, and I want to feel what the bass line is like. No, I want the drums to be more like this. So these days, I love rehearsal, and with my band, we have such a wonderful time. In fact, sometimes.
But you also given now you're expressing yourself. You get before you've been, as you said, been told what song to write, handed over, sing it like this.
Yeah.
In fact, let me rewind a bit. This is when I met you. I met you because I just joined Kijiji, and I'm going through all the stuff that Kijiji, the songs that they played, and there's this song called Domestics that you've done with Kanji. And then the next thing that I know that you're doing is that you're working on this album, and there's this amazing, I'd say it's the best song in Kenya that has never been released.
Really?
Yes, the song that Jaydee played
guitar on.
And you sang, written by Sarah Metaro.
Yeah.
But I want us to talk about this era of you working on your solo album, because that album was someday an album.
Yeah.
That album had massive.
But you see, that album was so easy. Let me tell you why. Because by the time I decided,
was that a record deal that you?
It was a record deal.
Okay, take us from the record deal.
So I remember that I was at Kijiji. I don't know how I got into conversations with Peter and Dwati. I honestly don't remember. Did we bump into each other? Did I have his number? I don't know what it was. But we talked, and he was like, okay, sure, let's do a record deal. I was like, great, let's do it. So to an extent, I had been working with a lot of people, so there were some songs to pick up. Right? The person who I met for the first time when we did the record deal was Chris. I didn't know Chris.
Chris Adwar now.
I didn't know him. But my project manager, who was John Rabah, who was actually a really
John Rabah?
Yeah, John Rabah was actually a really good project manager. He was a really great project manager.
Yeah, he's the one who also did Semas.
Yeah, he could understand, I don't like this music, but the people who like this music will like this song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He really understood that. I feel like he was very firm, but I feel like he was also very sensitive and kind to the producers. He listened to what I wanted, because when I looked at the pictures, I told him, I want Jim Choo Choo. I'll do it for you. Then he was like, there's this guy called Chris Adwar, he writes some really good songs, I think he could give you some songs. And I was like, okay, let's meet him. Because he was a really, let me just say again, he was a really great project manager. I really trusted him, and it was a wonderful experience working with John. So we went to.
So let me ask. So you get this record deal, and which basically means that your album will be funded.
Yes.
And then album photography, basically to get this product out for us to begin selling
somebody's actually gonna pay for all this stuff, and you're going to get this percentage from it.
Yes. And
you're going to do these many gigs. And Pine Creek was wonderful, but it was a very small operation then. So it was between Peter and John. But John was
oh, so the two of them.
Yeah, but no, John worked for Peter, but because John was in the music industry, he was very proactive, and he had a lot of time. The Homeboys radio hadn't picked up yet that much. And how did you get started? No, we used to meet downstairs. Maybe it had started, I'm not sure. But he was very hands-on. I never remember looking for him and not being able to find him. If I couldn't find him, he had not been paid, and he was like, I can't do the work now. I don't have, you know. So he got Chris to come to Homeboys, and he played me. First he played me. Chris, I don't know if he wasn't sure about me. So first he played me Sokoni Mjini, and I sang it, and then he was like, "That's nice." And we played some gigs, and we sang Sokoni Mjini and Someday. I can't even remember. I remember more the introduction to Sokoni Mjini than I remember to Someday.
Matembezi sokoni, nalipita lango kubwa, duka kila kona, sakafu lavutia, taza ning'inia kutoka pani, zamulika njia yangu, maua za kila aina, anishikilia mkono akisema, tembea nami, twatembea, twaongea, anionyesha uzuri wa dunia yake, twatembea, twaongea, sitosheki na hiyo, natamani mbinguni.
You know, because I know people love the song, but I keep thinking Chris's parts are so nice. Mine are just, if I was a lawyer. So I understand people really love the song, but I'm like, it's beautiful. But another problem is, it's written so specifically, I can't really go anywhere with it.
Yes.
You see, the way Happy is written, we don't know. Even the band are like, how are you going to sing the song today? Me, I don't know. Just start playing the chords. Let's see where we're going to go. That's really exciting.
I don't know what to do. Nimekuwa kama wazimu. Mahabuba ni wewe tu. You are my sun and moon. My morning dew. Let you always be part of me. Because when the sun shine, we'll shine together. Told you I'll be here forever. That I'll always be your friend. Talk about love, sing that to the end. Now it's raining more than ever. Know that we'll still have each other. You can say it under my umbrella. You can say it under my eyes. That smile in your eyes, I make hard to have inside. I don't think you know. You make me feel so, so, so like a bright and sunny day. And today you make me.
But another thing with Some Days, I've decided never to sing it if he's not there. Yeah, I don't sing Someday if Chris is.
And the audience, they're Someday,
There's no Chris at all. They're like, really? So if he's there, we'll sing it.
Yeah.
If he's not there, we don't sing it. And if I go to his gig, then we'll sing
And it has to be Chris. You can't replace it with a different
I
male,
don't-
Webby.
It really
Freda,
works. It
Okay,
really
but
works
Chris,
with
yeah,
Chris.
Chris's voice is
Yeah, it really
bad. It's bad. It's bad. Good.
Yeah, it really works with him. So I've never sang Someday with somebody else. Ever. I've never cheated on him. Though in Minibamba I've sung with other people, but Someday I've never sung with somebody else.
Ningekuwa taxi driver, ningekupa lifti kila mara, ningekuwa shamba boy, ningekuchunia sukuma wiki, ningekuwa telephone operator, bamba 50 ningekusambazia, ningekuwa dereva city hopper, hata kileleshwa tungetembea. I am a simple man, I dream about loving you. My simple mind is filled with thoughts of you. You will be mine someday.
Ningekuwa karani, ningekuandikia barua ya mapenzi.
So there were, so like with Chris, all the songs he gave me because we met with John, and then we also really hit it off and became really, really good friends.
And he did a huge percentage of the album.
Yeah. No, not really.
How many songs?
Maybe Chris did 4 songs. Maybe Tim probably did more songs on the first album. It's just that Chris's songs really stood out. So he did Soko ni Mjini, Someday, Mambo ya Livyo, and there's a song called Color that nobody knows. Me and Chris, we really like that song. Then Peter was like, we don't like it. I was like, me and Chris loved that song. We loved it. Like, you're the best song in the world. But we didn't like it as much as we liked it. So
in that mix, now that's when Sarah wrote.
Yes, it was called Let Me Go.
Yeah, Let Me Go.
I remember that.
Actually, do you know, I'm not hating, but I had a version of that song with Kavudha.
Yeah, I know that there was a version.
I don't like it. and not because Kavudha doesn't have a good voice. It's just like opera singing R&B doesn't sort of connect. You get? I'm not saying she's an opera singer. I'm just saying that song was it
was perfect, and we did the stuff. But you see, again, we were young and we were foolish. Now we are friends. The issue is, do I want to release it now or not? Right? Because when I listened to it, I think it was beautiful for that time.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Maybe we would redo it. Yeah, because again, we were young and we was allowed for 10 years for nothing. So when we started talking, we were like, we were stupid. We were very stupid. And I think Sarah has written me, like this record that I'm working on now, I think some of the songs she has written me are probably the best songs, the best ballads on that record. The one that you got to listen to this one. Yeah. So she wrote me some beautiful songs and she was like, that song, do whatever you want. Do you want to record it again, put it on the album, do it. So right now I'm like, I've actually not, since we made up, I've actually never gone back to listen to the song.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to, or I don't know if I don't want to. I just don't know. Because also, then you know the stuff, sometimes I'm really interested in the now. There's some songs I wrote in 2016. I've never released them. They're so boring to me right now. I don't want to release them. I'm like, let me write some new stuff. So I don't know if we should let it go, because the song is Let Me Go. I don't know if we should just let it go.
Yeah.
But you know what, after this conversation, maybe I'll
you go and hear it.
We are foolish young girls, not understanding that another thing that needs to happen in this industry is women need to help other women and stand up for other women, and we need to be friends. Because this thing of men being like, women just hate each other, it needs to not be. You know what I mean? It needs to not be the case.
And also, you're not that many.
Yeah, we're not.
I mean, at that time you could count how many women were in the industry.
No, you can count.
Oh, it's still the same.
Who new came? Sage came. I like Sage. Sage came. Wambu Mitaru now is.
Yes, there's Fee.
There's Fee. I forgot about Fee. There's Fee. Yeah, there's Fena now. But then also, Fee and Fena, I feel like I'm doing a very different kind of thing.
Yes.
Than what Sage is doing.
Yes.
I really like Sage. Let me just say it again. I really like her as a musician. So sure, there are more, right? But if you wanted to have a sit-down acoustic, people sit down and sing.
Yeah.
Who could you call? Are there 10?
There's the group. Though actually I don't know anymore, because I'm beginning to see, and that's why I like doing the Playhouse, because there are youngins who are watching this, and maybe
the youngins who are watching this, and then I've also realized that there's a new singing style. I see it and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But the big voice isn't necessarily like, I don't know any. Do you know any new singer who's a big voice singer? Even internationally. You know? It's like this little sweet and do sweet under your breath ad-libs thing that's very popular right now. And I just want to call Adele and be like, Adele, they're killing us out. Because I think internationally that's the last big voice thing. Even Rihanna kind of sang with a big voice, you know, and maybe Beyonce. But after that, it's like
when you say big voice, what do you mean big voice?
I mean
Whitney Houston.
I mean people who sing loud with a big voice. That's all I mean, you know. But when you think about Tori Kelly, it's very sweet and quiet, and Ariana Grande. You know, and it looks like that's the thing that's being copied even in our upcoming musicians. We sing very sweet, very quiet, right? And when you think about Adele performing alone with a glorious orchestra, it's like this new singing, you have to bring everything down. And I don't know if it's by choice or I'm like, God was like, sasa wale watu wako na big voice hawatazaliwa tena. I don't know.
Let's see in the comments of this video if guys will tag some
I'm curious.
African big voices.
I'm curious. I would, because maybe the young people who've come up, maybe the last big voice person I hear is Wambu. We played jazz with Wambu, and you know me, my singers, because there are things that I really wanted to be done for me and they were not. So I have to do them for my singers.
Like what did you want done for you?
I wanted the people who I sang backup for to give me more opportunities. And not to say that Eric didn't, because I did backup for Eric. It's not that he didn't give me opportunities. Like we performed in Minibamba with Eric all the time, right? But we were predominantly BVs. You get what I'm saying?
Did you do a lot of BVs on the album with the guy who just passed the 20?
That's one, every song, I think I'm in every song. Every song, even I listen, I'm like, I can hear myself. I think that's my favorite album by Eric. I love 2020. That album. And you know, 2020 was initially, I was reminding him this about the other day, he couldn't remember. It was a love song. Yeah, it was initially a love song. It was something about, he would say, I moved houses to be sure we got the same tattoo. Then Mutukudzi came and he was like, let's make it a song. I was like, why, man? Give it a love song. What's up?
Bongo venas, zunguka zunguzuka neni. Kuja nami, tuungane twache kuzozana. Tiende mbele. Wajua upendo, hauna dui, hauna kifani kaka. Takabata na sabate.
So I really liked that Eric made us part of the creation phase of his music. That was beautiful because when you got on stage with him, you felt ownership. You know, you felt like
but let me be real. Eric is very meticulous with his music.
Yeah,
I think there are very few people who could pass as BGVs. Do you get what I mean? Like, yeah, to be honest, I don't think that thing was open to everybody. That just shows how good you are as a musician. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so. But he really involved us, and you know, he did. I think both albums were live, and I remember Eric liked working at night. This is how I learned. Now when I tell people I don't like working at night because of that, Eric, it's your fault. I hate recording at night. I hate working at night. I'm like, my work is being a musician. Let me work in work time. It's now. What time? 1 o'clock. It's work time now. This is the time we should be working. So when you got on stage with him, you really felt ownership of the music. And you had your favorites. So when you would go into your favorite, you'd be so excited, you know. And we brought to his stage, just so thrilled to be here.
Who are the BGVs with you?
It was just me and Rachel.
Okay.
So we're so thrilled to be there that even if the audience are not having fun, he would enjoy himself. He's like, look at these BGVs, they're having such a good time, they're about to do somersaults. You know? And then we had our own two jokes, you know, that in Sawasawa, wake up early in the morning and hear the birds call out my name. Then we sing, Eric, 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 because we're the band. So it was such ownership. It was such ownership. But I would have loved more space to be like, here is my singer. This is a fantastic singer. You know, I feel like when you do it at the beginning, you're telling people this singer is no. At the beginning, you're like, this is my BGV who can sing. If you do it in the middle, you're telling people this is a musician who I respect, who is here on stage with you. They could sing a couple of songs. So if you're singing backup in my band now, right?
Rega.
You have to understand.
Does Rega have a certain band?
He's not in my band anymore.
Oh, he's not in a band.
He's famous.
So who do you have? Who you give space?
So I have Wambu and I have a guy called Manasseh.
Yeah, no, Manasseh.
Yeah.
He's very good. Manasseh is amazing.
Yeah, he really is. So for them, sometimes it's stress. I'm like, so we're gonna, you guys, you have to choose a song. I don't want to choose. I'm like, I used to beg for chances. Here is your chance. So at Jay's, I think Wambu even sang 2 songs, right? And people I feel like people remember it more. You know, at the beginning, it's before the show started.
Yeah, you're curtain raising.
Yeah, they may or may not pay attention. Do you remember who the curtain raiser was most of the times anyway? Remember who the main actor was, you know? So I feel like if I give it to them right in the middle, then it's part of the show and people remember that part.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay, so back to, I like this interview. You've completely messed up our style of interview, but we love it. So now you release your album.
Yeah.
How did that feel? What was that new experience? Because now, I mean, you've been told you can't sing, you've been told you can't write, but now at the end of all of this thing, you're holding a Jim Chuchu project.
Jim Chuchu, I really love Jim Chuchu.
Jim Chuchu. Yeah, everybody was doing photography with Jim Chuchu at that time. He was his own style.
I don't want anyone else to ever do for me photography, but I'm like, I guess now I have to because he's a star. He's a star now. Jim, come back. Photograph me.
So, okay. So what happened after the release of Hatimaye? And then where do you go next from there?